it's Liz Yuille from Old Staples Crafts. Thank you for joining me again today. I'm a UK-based independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I am taking part in the One Stamp at a Time blog hop. We are going with a theme of end of summer blues, which slightly worries me because I don't think of the beginning of August as the end of the summer. I kind of think of it as midsummer, but there we go. That's what we're going for. But because I haven't had my summer holiday yet, I'm actually going to go with a bit of a sort of sunset as, you know, the end of summer. It's a sunset. So I'm taking a little bit of liberty. I don't go on my summer holiday until second week of September in the UK. So fingers crossed it's going to be reasonable weather. We often do get really nice weather at that time of the year. So this is the card that I've made. I'm doing some blended ink work in the middle, using some rectangle dies and heat embossing my images. The dies I've used are the third and fourth from the outside of the rectangle dies, and I simply just layered them up, and I have die cut 2 layers, stuck them together to make a bit of a frame, just to sort of focus the eye to the bit that we are concentrating on. So I've already stuck 2 more frames together, but when I come to stick it on the front of the card, you'll see how I've put them together anyway, so that's no big deal. Okay, so let's get started. There is a bundle for this stamp set, which comes with some dies that cut on the edge, so you can have as wide a piece of card at the bottom as you like, and you've got either the tropical scene or bulrushes or flowers, plus some little dragonflies. The dragonflies are the only 2 that claim to be used matching the... my brain, it's sad. So the only stamped images that claim to match the dies are the dragonflies. It's possible that that will work, but I haven't tried it yet. Anyway, I love this. It's got some fantastic sentiment. So life is good with a friend like you. Enjoy the little things, which is what I'm using. Happy day. Here's to celebrating you, and everything else will work out. So enjoy the little things and everything else will work out. Thanks for being there for me. So a really useful stamp set for really any occasion. Doesn't have to be birthday or anything like that. There isn't actually a happy birthday. There's a happy day which you could use, but hey. So I've punched a 2-inch circle out of a piece of scrap card, and I've got one of my usual first layer mats under there. I happen to know that it's about central. I'm using Terracotta Tile, Pumpkin Pie and Daffodil Delight as my colours, and I'm going to start with the light and work in. And I've got a block which has already got some glycerin on it. It helps the ink actually move rather than sticking in one place. So as I say, I'm going to start with Daffodil Delight. So I'm going to add some ink to my sponge dauber and just touch the glycerin a bit, move it round, and I was going to move that out of the way and then I realised I might need it again. Just in a sort of circular-ish motion, preferably without getting a blob on your card. That will disappear when I've added all the ink. Just add some colour, and I'm going to make sure I've got a reasonable amount of colour at the bottom because that's where I want more of the yellow. So that is all the Daffodil Delight that I need. Pumpkin Pie, and we're just doing a repeat performance. So get some ink, touch into the glycerin, blend it round, and then onto your card. And this is where you get this lovely blend because the glycerin just helps it to glide, and it's just great. So I'm bringing it up and down a little bit, and then Terracotta Tile I've chosen because it's a good rich colour for a sunset, but also it's got that little bit of pink in it. I'm going to start by picking up off the the lid, and then just touch into the glycerin and come in at the top. And it is that lovely kind of rose glow that you get in a sunset, particularly in the tropics. And then I'm going to bring it down a little bit just to soften the whole area. And then we can come back in with a bit more of our pumpkin pie and a bit more of our daffodil delight. And then that is all we need to do. So, big reveal time. Ta-da! There is our sunset. As you can see, I hold my mask down so that this isn't moving. The piece of card generally doesn't. If you're worried about the card moving, you can put a little bit of snail on the back, just a little bit, and I would put a little bit of snail and then take some of the tack off just so that it's not too sticky, because you don't want to damage the back of your card too much pulling it off. Now, I'm using the palm trees and the enjoy the little things. I am going to accept that I am going to get some embossing powder on one of these two stamps. It comes off perfectly. As you can see, they are clean. It comes off, apart from some cat fur, comes off perfectly easily. You can either just put them in onto your stamping scrub, or you can clean them with a bit of soapy water under a tap and it's fine. So don't worry about that. But the first thing we do need to worry about is that this may not be dry. So a bit of embossing buddy just over the top will make sure that it's as dry as it's going to be, and then just embossing buddy everywhere else anyway, and then just blow away any excess. And Versamark ink, ink up your tree. Do not press this too hard or you can end up by getting a third trunk. Just saying. Actually, I want to come over. I want to just make sure I get that little dark space. So, press it down, don't go mad, and up. And I think we've done okay with that. Pop that on for the moment. Let's get rid of those because I don't need them. Bring in my black embossing powder and just dabble a bit of that on. And give it a good flick. Yep. Okay, and this is where I'm just going to accept that I'm going to go over the trees with my palm leaves. And I'm fine with that. So, we want to line it up. Now, if you're clever, unlike me, you may be able to do this without putting the embossing powder on first, but I can't see through the trees, through the leaves, well enough to do both of them in Versamark first. So that is why I have done one on top of the other. Okay, and then finally, can't see it for looking, couldn't see my Versamark. The enjoy the little things, and I'm lining up the enjoy and the little, the enjoy and the, because the little things is at an angle. So I'm going to try and keep those words straight and not worry about the little things. And cover that up. Bring in and I do always like to go over these things a couple of times just in case. And then just a tap at the back. And we're good to go. Okay, let's pop the lid on Now, if you do find you've got any stray bits of embossing powder, a dry brush, quite a nice smooth dry brush is useful if you get anything that's too scratchy. It may take off more than you're expecting. So, trusty cheese board. So this is a bamboo cheese board, which is great for reflecting the heat back up. I'm just going to heat up my heat gun. And I'm not worried that some of this is going outside the circle. It's not, I don't have a problem with that. So you should always make sure your heat tool is hot before you introduce it to the embossing powder. And then just slowly move it as the powder melts. And then just turn it over. Do not put it down because the embossing powder is still wet. And then just help to straighten out the card because it does warp a little. Putting it on the board, oh, excuse me, let's turn that off. Putting it on the board helps to keep it flat, but it's not a guarantee. So I like to just sort of encourage it flat again. Now, I just want to show you that it is really easy to get that embossing powder off. This is actually just a chamois, and there we go. I mean, it's not completely off, but run that under a tap. Put it in through your stamping scrub, and it will take those last bits of embossing powder off. So, okay, I'm going to stick this onto a card base before I stick the frame on, as much as anything, so that we get a chance to flatten everything down before we put the frame onto something that's a bit wibbly. So this is just half a sheet of A4, scored in half. Now, all dimensions I have over on my blog, and there's a link to that below. What I would say is that I do both international A4 and North American letter dimensions. Now, I'm going to use snail, and I'm going to use quite a lot because I do want this to flatten out. So although in North America your card is shorter and fatter than the rest of the world, I put in the equivalents. So it will still be shorter and fatter, but it will give you the right dimensions for your size card, which I'm hoping you will find useful. So just pop that down, turn it over before I pop it all on. And that helps again to flatten everything out. So you can see I used a lot of snail. Right, grab a silicone mat and some snail. Not snail, Tombow. Just want to get rid of that because that's actually, this was when I was die cutting it. It just caught a little. So I want that out of the way so that it doesn't stick out somewhere. And then just draw a thin line of snail, ideally between the stitch marks, so that there's less chance of it squishing out the edge. Do not use too much. I am putting on a very small amount. And I just want to show you what a small amount I've put on. Can you see that? It really isn't much at all. And then just find a space on both sides, or one side at least, and then line up over your card. And then, trying to keep it square, pop it down, turn it over and give it a good press. If you press from the back and you do it with flat hands, you are less likely to move anything. So there we are. So that's the one we've made together. This is the one I made earlier. I love it. It's a dream of summer's gone. Well, except, as I say, in the UK, it's still summer. So, well, hopefully it is. I'm filming this about 10 days before it goes live, so fingers crossed. It's still summer. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Do go over to my blog and pick up the blog hop, because I know there will be some amazing projects, because I know who's taking part, and there are some amazing people on the design team, so do go and have a look at that. Thank you very much indeed for watching. If you need any of the products and you're in the UK, I've linked them below, but they're also over on my website, which is linked below. Questions or comments? I love getting comments from people. I always answer them. It may take me a few days, but I do always answer them. So if you've got any questions or comments, please, please, please add those below. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you don't already subscribe and would like to, there's a button in the bottom right-hand corner. And I hope to see you again soon. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Bye!